What's your name? What's your name? Zay. Ooh, that's different.
Pussy. Sup? Big pussy. It's about and oh,
Enjoy your nice weekend. Sit down, have your drink or smoke or a toke, and just enjoy life, man. Life is about enjoying life right now. You know, we got so many people who are losing loved ones. You know, it's in everybody's home right now. So, today's topic is about bad people going good and good people going bad. So hopefully we can shed some light on some things and try to get some understandings on how a lot of us sit back and say, why did a person do this? Or why did a person become that? You know, and it's shocking to see how people can easily be changed and whose lives can be changed in a split second, you know. And I chose to talk about that today because, like I say, when I have discussions with people who I'm around or people who I'm close to or whatever, sometimes those topics make me say I'm gonna talk about that this week. So this is one of the topics that I want to talk about this week. And that's people who that goes from bad to good and good to bad, you know. And I grew up, I was born in the 60s. I was raised in the 70s and 80s until adulthood. And I'm still being raised by a lot of things that, we're learning in society today, which is new things. And some things that we learn as a child we never forget. Some things we learn as a child we want to forget. Some things that happen to us in life as children, we wish we could go to sleep and just hope that it never happened, you know. And I think that's part of what makes people go from who they are to something different, you know. And one of the examples I want to give is we have, you got some people who you was raised with, people you grew up with, then probably went to their house, spent the night with them, or they have been to your house, spent the night with you, and your family, and your parents say that's gonna be a good child. That's a good child. That child gonna amount to something. That child gonna be this or that and the other. And then as the years go by, you know, you get a phone call. You all may have graduated high school together, anything, and you go one way, they go another way. But at the same token, you never think that you will ever hear that this person went opposite. You understand? So, you know, it's very shocking when you find out that somebody that you was raised with or someone that you knew from your community that was always considered the good person or the bad person or whoever, one day you get a phone call and say, you know, that person is not like that anymore. You know, this person done went that way. You know, and it's scary. It's shocking. It's shocking. You know, I was in school with some kids, and I would say, you know, sometimes we'll say, oh, that girl right there, she gonna wind up being somebody. She might wind up being Miss America. She might wind up, you know, running for office or doing this, that, and the other, but she's not gonna be a bad person. And 25 years go by, and you go to the neighborhood that you was from, if you're not still living there, and you either talking to someone from the neighborhood or you talking to some of your old friends from the neighborhood, you know, you run across some old friends from the neighborhood. And you, well, hey man, what about what's her name? Have you heard anything about her? Have you seen her? Or have you seen this guy or that guy or the other? And someone say, man, you ain't heard. Heard what? Oh man, she got strung out on drugs. And you look like, hell, huh? Are you serious? Or you hear about a guy, one of your homeboys or one of your friends, and you ask about him, and they say, well, shit. You know, I say, hey, boy, I remember you used to beat dudes up in school and fight all the time and this, that, and the other. And they say, well, you know, you're a preacher now. You know, so it's wild how God has our stories written. You know, because these are our stories we're living. You know, so it's shocking how life can change you from either being a good person to a bad person or a bad person to a good person or both. You know, and throughout life, this is how it goes. These are the things that we're faced with. I guess this is what the old people back in the day you would consider your adversities. How do you overcome these things? What do you have to do to overcome these things? You know, and it was just amazing for us to be sitting around having this conversation, and everybody's pulls are like, well, damn, man, you know, man, these girls were cheerleaders, they was this, they was that, they was heads of the clubs that we had in high school, and these guys was, you know, called themselves the preps, and, you know, they prepped and voted polo and did this and did that. They thought they were the pretty boys, and, you know, and then you start hearing about how their lives changed when they got to be adults. Wind up strung out on drugs, wound up in jail, some wind up getting killed. You know, in today's society, this is actually a part of society now. It's actually a part because drugs are so unique and they are so easy to obtain now, to where you can, you know, it's damn near as if everybody in the world is on some type of drug right now. And some of these are good people who has to turn to something to alter their thoughts for a while because of how life may be treating them right now or at a certain point. You know, and I'm not gonna make this show about drugs because that's not what it's about. It's about people whose lives have changed in a split second from a good person to a bad person and a bad person to a good person. Everybody that does drugs is not bad people. Some of these are good people. A lot of these people are good people. They just got caught up. They just got caught up. Some of us live by this bullshit we call peer pressure. There's no such thing to me. To me, that's my opinion. You know, so everybody have their own way of consuming mindsets. Our mindset real, that's the most powerful part of our thinking process. Our mindset, you know, because you can be, we can be riding and we can be thinking about things and we can be, putting together a plan on how to handle a situation or how to handle whatever we're dealing with at the time. And then when we reach our destination and we get to communicating and interacting with everybody that we're around, that thought go out the window. And it's because we lose that mindset. You know, we can, how many times have you sat back and said, I'm gonna use something real sense. How many times have you sat back, okay, it's the beginning of the year. And around November, some of us in October shit, some of us don't even wait till the end of the year. We start talking about what we gonna do with our time. When I file my taxes, I'm gonna do this. When I file my taxes, I'm gonna do that. When my taxes come, I'm gonna pay off this and I'm gonna pay off that and then all this old type of shit. Then that's that mindset then because of what we're dealing with. And as soon as we get that check, as soon as you go pick that money up and cash that check at the bank and them folks give you them little couple of $1,000, every damn thing you said you were gonna do when you get that money go out the damn window. That's when you start saying, I'm gonna procrastinate. I'll pay it next week. Next week come, I'll pay it the next week. Next week come, I'll pay it the next week. Before it's over with, you don't have no money to pay that goddamn shit off. Mindset. So it's a lot of things that can happen in your life that can make you go from bad to good, good to bad. It's all according to how you accept it. The way you accept it is the way it's gonna go. Unless it's forced upon you, then that's your mindset. That's what turns you from a good person to a bad person or a bad person to a good person. I talk about this young man a lot sometime when I talk about situations like this, and I'm going to talk about him again today. We had a perfect example years ago as a good man being turned into a bad man. All because the judicial system took his mindset and played with it. And that young man's name is Brian Nichols. Brian Nichols was turned from a good man to a bad man. That shows you how much our system cares about convictions. Here's an everyday working citizen, everyday productive citizen, as they say they want us to be. Productive citizens. This man was, educated, well-mannered, the whole 9 yards. They took a charge, which was rape, and the victim never showed for court. This man went to trial 3 times. All 3 times, he beat the case. The victim never showed. She was his girlfriend. So it took a DA, like the one we probably have now, to sit back and say, I'm going to prosecute you for something. That's enough to turn a man into a different man. So she turned him into a different. You got a lot of guys, the system is very good with that. They very good with that. They have done that to a lot of people intentionally. You know, I can see some things can be accidental, but when you're doing it intentional, when you're doing it, when you come out the box, right now, this is what I'm going at, that's bad intentions on that person. That's bad intention. Some people, some people need to have to live some of the things that they do toward people. That's what need to happen. Sometimes when these politicians and people who are sitting behind these desks making decisions on how we gonna live our lives or how we supposed to live our lives, and they try to enforce the laws and this, that, and other. When they break the law, when they are caught breaking the law themselves, the law needs to state to where they need to live that life. They need to go through that. And we'll see how it turns them. We'll see how it turns them into a different person. So we got to start being mindful of how we treat people. We got to start thinking, what if it was me that this was being done to? What if it was me that was being forced to be this way? Put yourself in those shoes. Everybody try to be good to people. Everybody try to be good towards people, good for people, good around people. But it's always that asshole that comes up and turn everybody into a different person. You know, you can be having an event, a party, a family get together, anything. And everybody can be happy, having fun, talking, kicking it, the whole 9 yards. And then there's one person who can come and they can say something and everything changed. They can do something and everything changed. They can just show them up and everything changed. So it don't take for it to be something going on wrongfully for a person to go from a bad person to a good person, or a good person to a bad person. Sometimes you just be done had a damn enough of that person, of those people. And that's what makes you change. So it's not just political, it's not just judicial, it's life. This is a life experience that anybody can go through. So it's all about your mindset. Your mindset can make you do some things that you would never think you'll do. That's not curiosity, that's mindset. So when you having those moments, just sit back and gather yourself and say, damn, is this me? Would I really do that? Would I really do some shit like this? And just see what type of answers go across your mind. They used to always tell us, think before you do something. Then the judicial system came up with a charge for that. Ain't that some shit? First they tell you to do something before you react to something. And then they say, well, okay, now we're gonna create a way to convict the motherfucker for doing what we saying is the best thing to do. And then they came up with premeditated. Because you thought about, that's what you told me to do. That's what y'all recommend that we do. Think before we react. So it's either gonna be one way or the other. But at the same token, your life have changed within a split second, all because of your mindset. You have to be strong enough to overpower your mindset sometimes. You know, a lot of people ask me why I don't smoke, why I don't drink, why I don't do this, and why I don't do that. Behind a lot of things that I have had to deal with in life, throughout life, still right to this day in life. And my answer to that be because that's not gonna solve the problem. That's not gonna make shit go away. It's probably gonna make me feel good for a few minutes, but I'm gonna still have that same problem when that high come down, or when I get through smoking that cigarette. I'm gonna still have the same damn problem. So what's the benefit? Me getting hooked on something to where I feel like I have to have it? No, not Big Jeff. Big Jeff ain't gonna do that. One I'm not gonna try. I say a lot of time I'll try anything once. Some shit I'm not gonna try once. I'm not gonna do it. So, you know, I leave them situations alone and let them take care of themselves. So Brandy Southern girl, how you doing today, sweetheart? I hope you had a good day. So we go, it's all in progress. I want us to start trying to progress on things that's going on in life right now. Everybody, whatever's going on in your life, use it. Sit back and think of a way to make it positive. Sit back and think of a way to make it right and true. Do that, you know. And, we got to start trying to change our people. And when I say our people, I don't mean just black people, I mean people, period. We got to start trying to change our people. We done start doing a lot of interracial shit. We got blacks going with Mexicans, blacks going with whites, blacks going with Koreans, blacks going. Everybody's on the black jock right now. You got a lot of people who have accepted us, and it ain't just happened. We had people accepting us back in slavery. So it haven't just started. We just need to start trying to interact more. you know. And sometimes, and in that manner, that can help us out too on how people's lives change within a split second. We got P. Diddy fighting for his life right now. All because of mindset, who he is. If he wasn't who he was right now, who he is right now, I'm gonna say it like that. If he wasn't who he is right now, he wouldn't even be in the courtroom. He wouldn't even be in the courtroom. You know, and a lot of things that he have done in his life, it was all in good faith until somebody couldn't have their way. Now we gonna see a lot of these people who couldn't have their way. So they reacted. That's what, okay, if you can't let me have my way, then I'm gonna exploit you to something. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? You know, that's why we have to pick and choose, ladies and gentlemen, who we decide to make our better half. You better be careful. You better make sure it's that person. You better make sure it's that person. You know, Because, like I say, lately, these last shit, for the last 15, damn near 20 years, we have seen a lot of our people who's going through something that happened 40 years ago, 30 years ago. Shit ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous that a person can change your life that fast. Split second. Don't take but a second. Everybody better pay attention to this. Everything that has happened in the last 20 years, I'm going to say, from child porn to kidnapping to human trafficking to, just a whole bunch of shit, man. And it's all hitting our highlighters, all of our icons. Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy, goddamn P. Diddy, now Jay-Z, now, they just going at everybody. A lot of it is about some money, but a lot of it is about straight hate because of these people being successful. And it's sad because the people who they're tied to winds up being part of it. You talk about Jay-Z and then you throw Beyonce in. Huh? Why? Because that's his wife. You talk about P. Diddy, then you throw his wife and his girl in it, whoever. You talk about, now, they didn't throw Bill Cosby's wife in it. They tried. They tried to slide her in now, but they couldn't. They didn't do nothing to Eddie Murphy. They slid in on R. Kelly. They talked about Teddy Pendergrass. They talked about Al Green, Marvin Gaye. Hey, man, these people's lives changed within a split second that could have made them go from being good people to bad people or bad people to good people. Then you got these actors. Here's a man shot a woman on set. And they had to think about prosecuting the case. You had to think about that. But a woman said that a man gave her a drug 40 years ago. You go right and pick him up. You go right and bash his life in. Are you serious? Are we really serious, people? We got to start fighting for these people. We got to start being a voice for these people. We got to help them have a voice. Because a lot of things, we as people who are not of status go through the same shit. But if we start making people realize that what they're doing is totally 100% wrong to people, that can somewhat curb the issue of a man being turned into a criminal, a man being made to be someone who feels like, the world is just standing on his shoulders, pressing him down till he will never have a chance to be anything in life but low. Taking a man from being in prison, from being out of work, taking a man from living, an uncomfortable life, and then he becomes somebody, and now everybody kiss his ass. Now everybody, want to talk to him. Now everybody want to associate with him. Now everybody want to be a friend, but goddamn, when he was at his gutter point, you didn't want to look at him. Congratulations to Mr. Perry on that. So it's not always a bad thing now. Tyler Perry is the shit right now. And everybody want a piece of it. They don't give a damn what his past life was about. He switched it up. He switched the game. And we need to learn from that. It don't take much. All you got to do is dedicate to it. All you got to do is dedicate to what you believe in with your plan. Write you out a plan. Figure out how you're going to execute the plan and execute the plan. And don't let nothing or nobody come between you executing your plan. Congratulations, Mr. Perry. It's more to come. This man, Tyler Perry, turned good to bad and bad to good. And when I say that, I mean it like this. He was already a good person. But what he did was took his bad and flipped it. He took his bad and flipped it. I pay a lot of attention to a lot of things. And a lot of his plays, a lot of movies, a lot of things that he has put out and produced. Me from really paying attention to his movement, I know exactly why he come up with those ideas so quick. I know exactly why he can put these plays and these movies and these, shows together so quick. Because he's really giving us his story. He's giving us his story, and he's adding a little bit to it to make it look good to you, to keep our attention. But when you look beyond it, you're looking at Mr. Perry's life. He is telling the story of his life through his movies, through his shows, through his plays, through everything that he has done. But at the same token, he made something happen that I heard a producer a long time ago say would never happen. I heard a man say long time ago, Mr. Schultz, Hollywood will never go down south. Go by Lakewood Stadium to the amphitheater on the south side of Atlanta. Ain't that something? A side of town that our judicial system says the worst part of Atlanta. We got so many studios over there in that parking lot, it's a shame. But they said it would never happen. That's why we can't get caught up in they say. They are giving us a good example of that in Atlanta, Georgia, right now. Have been giving us a good example of it for the last 20 years. So it ain't just happening. It just they picking and choosing who they want to go at. And they going at them. So, we gotta let's start being mindful. Let's grab our kids. Let's grab our grandkids. Let's start interacting with them more. Let's start giving them knowledge. Give them the knowledge that they are missing, because that's all wrong with them. They didn't get the knowledge we got growing up. So we fumbled the ball right there by listening to the system. And nobody was ever sitting at that meeting saying, but these children have to go home with their families, their parents. grandparents, whoever raising them. So how can we sit here in the office and make these type of decisions and try to force people to live by them, and we don't live by them our damn self? And now you want to give them back. You know, I was looking at a saying somebody had put on the internet the other day, and the saying was this young lady, she was getting married, and she had been married a few times, and at this marriage, her dad told her groom, I've been giving my daughter away several times. I have given her away several times, and y'all keep bringing her back. What the hell wrong? Is it her? Got to be. They keep bringing her back. You know, so mindset. Mindset. You know, some TV shows I look at, I think that shit is for real. Because it's for real. It happens for real. A lot of things that they show us that they, supposed to be some sci-fi shit. Sometimes I look at that, and when I look deep down into it, I feel like that's real too. I feel like that's something that has happened somewhere before. We just don't know. That's what I think a lot of sci-fi movies are. So we can't never say that it haven't happened before. Something had to take place. Somebody was able to put it on a movie set. Somebody was able to make it part of a cast of a show. Somebody knows something. As Nino Brown say, somebody knows something. So we gotta let's start being more supportive of each other. Whether we know each other or not. If you don't know a person, that's even more support. Let's start doing that. Let's start reaching out sometime, man. Let's start, sit down and have some conversations with people and just see what we can get out of it. It don't make no difference what you talk about. Everything you can talk about is life. It has some form, somewhere, somehow to do with life. So let's sit down and try to grasp that and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I want to fill y'all in on some things that we finna try to do. And we gonna do it, not try to do it. It's in the works now. But we have always had men who and I don't care if anybody bite this idea. I need it to be bitten, but put it in perspective, man. Put it in play. Make it happen. Don't just bite it because you heard me say it and it sounds like a good ass idea. Put a plan with it and make it happen in your city. I welcome that. But I'm putting together a program with one of my colleagues. And the program is going to be a young ladies program. We have had, guys, with status try to do these young men programs where they teach men how to be men and this, that, and the other. And then that shit, once that shit go across the headline and everybody get their reward out of it, you don't hear that shit no more. You don't hear nothing about it no more. You don't hear nothing about the kids. You don't hear nothing about, how what happened to the kids that started the program, the kids that participated, none of that. You don't hear about none of them kids no more because the program is over. So I sat back and decided, let's do a young woman's program. Let's go around and go to schools and talk to the young ladies and make them understand that a man's supposed to treat you a certain way. It ain't about putting on no goddamn suit. It ain't about, doing this, doing that. And it's about, teach a young man how to open up a door for a woman. Whether it's his mama, his sister, or his wife. Women have to teach us how to be men sometimes. So don't nobody go to send no comment saying that a woman can't raise a man. That's a damn lie. My mama raised me. Who can teach me better how to treat a woman than a woman? So I decided let's try to do a reverse psychology pitch. Let's get into the young ladies' heads and make them make our sons and grandsons and great grandsons and any other son men by making them respect them by doing things that a man's supposed to do for a woman. That's player. Now that's some player shit. That's some player shit. My son go to one of my partner's house to see his daughter, date his daughter, see his wife or whoever, and they open the door, and he open the door and close it when they leave. He be the one call and say, I'm about to bring your daughter back home. He be the one that say, I'm going to take your daughter up the street to Kentucky Fried Chicken. I don't give a damn where it's at. On a date. It ain't got to be nowhere explicit. A date is a date. Hell, I done took women to goddamn Church's Chicken on a date. A date is a damn date. If she hungry, she wants some chicken, we gonna go eat some. Because if this woman wind up being my wife, she gonna be eating Church's anyway. She gonna be eating Kentucky Fried Chicken anyway. She gonna be eating that Zaxby anyway. She gonna be eating that Checkers any goddamn way. So get her ass used to it now. Let her see that in order for us to go do something in some delicacy type shit, that's gonna be something we both agree on. That's gonna be something we both know at that time we're gonna be able to afford it so it can be an enjoyable time. I remember a lot of times sitting at a table with a woman because I'm trying to goddamn impress her, and I'm more worried about the tab than I am the whole other damn food. I'm trying to make sure the shit I eat is $20 less than what she ordered. So I know I got enough. So, we're gonna instill it into the young ladies and let them instill it into the men, like a lot of mothers have had to do anyway. All she's doing is making him be who he need to be, and that's a perfect gentleman. That's what we need to do. So let's flip the game. That's the fine print of this show today. Let's flip the game. Young man come to your house with that shit in his head, pants hanging off his ass. Man, son, pull your pants up. She need to tell him. You in front of my mama, nigga, pull your goddamn pants up. You in front of my grandmama, pull your pants up. When you come to my house, don't sit in the driveway and blow no damn horn. Walk your ass to the door and knock on the door. Or I'm not coming out. I was listening to this song, right? I was listening to this song, and this is what I'm going to end it with. I was listening to this song. Nephew, step in the room for me for a second. I want you to play this song for me. It's a chick named is it Ella May? She got a little song called Just a Little Thing, some shit like that. It's called Little Things. I had I was listening to this song, right? And as I was listening to the lyrics of it, and it's, like I say, sometimes God will put something in front of me, man, at a whim. And when I catch on, it kind of scares me because from me naming this show today, which, this was a thought I had a couple of days ago, and then I hear this song. And when I hear this song and I'm listening to the lyrics, and I'm like, what the hell? Is this where God put this on my, you know, I'm not going to question it, but that was my thought. That was my thought. And I played the song again once I looked it up. I played the song again and I listened to the song again. I said, well, damn, that's it. That's exactly what I'm thinking. That's the song that I'm really thinking. That's giving me my inspiration. That song. And this is the song that I'm gonna end the show with today. I'm gonna give you all the song. I'm gonna give you all the name of the song and the person who sing it.
Hey, how you doing?
This is Big Jeff, No Days Off Radio. Now let it play, nephew. This is Big Jeff coming to you from No Days Off Radio Productions. And this is the song that we're going to end the show with today. And this is Ella May. And the name of the song is called Little Things. This is what your daughters need to be making themselves prepare for a real man on. So this is what we're going to use to motivate our daughters for this week. So this Big Jeff coming from #1 show in the land, Nothing But The Truth, and I'm out.